Welcome to Winning Retirement Television. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group. Kristen, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm always happy to see you.
You as well.
Thank you. Greg, how are you today?
Fabulous. And it's great to be back on the show. I'm excited today.
I am too. We have had actually such tremendous response to the television show, and I know you've had another amazing episodes with the radio that you're getting a lot of responses from as well. We really are changing lives. Basically, you two are. I get to be the person that sits
you're
here,
a part
but
of
you're
it.
really changing lives, making such an impact so people can have clarity during retirement, which is so key.
We're so thankful people watch.
Yes.
You know, really, we're humbled that they take the time. And time is really our most precious commodity.
It is.
Time and health. And so taking the time to watch and give us feedback is always appreciated.
And the viewer questions. I love when people send in their viewer questions, which is amazing. But I want to start today's show about a recent Fidelity study. It's the Fidelity 45% rule. It states that your nest egg should generate about 45% of your pre-tax, pre-retirement income each year, with Social Security benefits covering the rest of your spending needs. Fidelity analyzed spending data for working people between the ages of 50 and 65, finding that most retirees need to replace between 55 and 80% of their pre-retirement to protect their current lifestyle. They say that retirees have lower day-to-day expenses so that their income requirements become lower. Do you find that to be true with people that you sit down with? Do their expenses and requirements become lower? Kristen?
So I say rules of thumb are meant to be broken. Just like my boys say there. We were talking before the show about there was an incident once with pants on a ceiling fan that was really high that I could not get down. You know, the rule is you don't throw clothes around the house, but I was never specific that you can't throw them on the ceiling fan, so they thought that was allowed. But in all seriousness, rules are meant to be broken, and no, because when you get to retirement, you're going to want to do things.
Sure.
And so when you're working and you're busy and it's go, 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 especially in those child rearing ages and then into the heavy working years where you're really trying to maximize those savings dollars, you don't have that much time to do fun things. You might have the 2 weeks vacation, or even if, gosh, how many people have we met with that have accumulated months of PTO that have never used it? 3 months, 4 months of PTO. I was too busy. I couldn't take the time off. So now they're retired. They're going to take the time and do the things they always wanted to do. And what's that going to do? It's going to cost money, right? So those, even if it's not fancy vacations, it's still going to cost money. You're still going to drive a car.
It's true.
Still need gas, and it's expensive right now.
You still wear clothes.
Hopefully.
Who knew?
Hopefully. I don't know. Some of the clothes today are kind of half off. But,
Yeah, they are.
That's true.
Yeah, but you still need clothes. You still need all those things. So you're gonna spend about the same, if not more, actually, is what we say in retirement.
In fact, I guess it's probably been 2 or 3 years ago now, a couple came in and they told us about a similar study, and he said, well, Greg, I'm just trying to figure out my income plan here. He said, I've been doing math. He's an engineer, and he had probably 15 spreadsheets that he brought in with him.
Yeah, I actually like really working with engineers.
We
it's
love
so
engineers.
interesting seeing their
Yes.
thought process, how their brain works.
He said, so I've read all these studies and I only need 80% of my pre-retirement income in retirement. So I've got all these spreadsheets and have everything worked out in my head. And Greg, I just want you to tell me what you think. And the first thing I looked, I said, well, the first thing I want to know is what 20% of your lifestyle are you going to give up? And he had, all of a sudden, the expression on his face totally changed. I never thought of that.
Yeah.
I never thought if I only have 80% of my income, I have to give up 20% of what I'm doing.
It's true.
So when I see these studies, I begin to chuckle inside, because in my 30 plus years of working with retirees, I've yet to find a couple or an individual that spent less. Because now you can, if you love to golf, you can golf a little more. If you love to play pickleball, you can play pickleball a little more. If you love to spoil the grandkids, you have more time to spoil them. You can go to all the soccer games and football games and baseball games and basketball games, and you can follow all the travel leagues and have all that fun, but it costs a little money.
Of course.
And you think, well, you know, I don't drive back and forth to work, and I do hear people say that, but hopefully you're not just sitting at home.
Yeah.
You're going somewhere and you're doing something. Maybe you're volunteering or giving your time at church or, you know, spending time with family or doing things. And we want retirement to be fulfilling.
Yes.
Now, one thing I will say that some people don't think about, and we've run into this before, is this is kind of light at the end of the tunnel type conversation, because you may be watching thinking, oh, good grief, I don't know how I'm going to be able to replace all this money that I'm spending when I go to retire. Well, you know, some people don't account for they're saving a lot as well in retirement. So they're putting a lot of what they're making back into their 401k or into other investments. So we're gonna look at all those things too. And so sometimes you have to understand that you have those dollars as well that are going to be shifted if you're not still tucking money away after you retire.
Sure. And we just started working with a family in the last 6 months, and they'd saved about $1.5 million. They're in their mid-60s right now. And as we went through the discovery process, we discovered that with the income that they really needed, and we had to, it took us a while to get to this point to figure out the number, but we finally uncovered that they need about $125,000 a year. They first told me they needed $60,000. That's a huge difference.
Absolutely.
I said, okay, $60,000 seems low. Tell me about your spending. And they told me how much they were bringing home, how much they put in savings each year. And then ultimately they said, you know, Greg, you're right. All we accounted for was our cell phone bill, you know, what we spend on you know, DirecTV and other things, and the basic expenses were $60,000 a year, but their lifestyle was spending $125,000 a year. So after we did all the math of how much income they had coming in, we needed to generate an additional $45,000 a year.
Wow. Okay.
So we were able to set aside money for that in their income plan to provide that $45,000 a year. So now, between Social Security, a pension, and this personal income plan they were setting up, this protected income stream, they were going to have the $125,000 a year. So check the box. Okay, we've got that in writing. We got a plan in place. Then we talked about growth, and we talked about what they wanted in growth. They were hoping to average around 6 to 8% a year. And what we're looking to do is take as little risk as possible to accomplish this. And they had been used to the big market up and down swings. And so what we were after was to generate a plan that would just smooth out the ups and downs. You can't eliminate them, because no matter where you put your money, there's going to be fluctuation.
Yeah.
So all we're trying to do is be efficient. And ultimately, when we were all said and done, they had a retirement investment plan, an income plan. We started talking about Roth conversions and how to take the extra dollars that were in the IRAs that they weren't using for income to shift to Roths to create a tax strategy for the future, a healthcare strategy, and then we set them up with one of the estate planning attorneys that we work with to update their estate planning documents and have a legacy plan in place. So when it was all said and done, they had a written retirement plan.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Well, Kristen, you and Greg have a very special offer to present today. Let's talk about what that is before we take our commercial break.
Yeah, it's that written retirement plan, because as you're starting to think about retiring, you know, it can become cumbersome in your mind, right?
Yes.
You start thinking, okay, what do I need to do to make sure I'm successful in retirement? So we offer that written retirement plan so you can see on paper what it is you need to do to start getting your way through and sometimes to retirement as successfully as possible. You can schedule an appointment right from our website by clicking on that QR code just below on the screen, and you can go to our Calendly link right from there. You can also call our office at 614-336-7660.
Kristen, thank you so much. Greg, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, that number to call is on the screen, 614-336-7660. Greg and Kristen realize that you have a lot of questions about how to plan your perfect retirement. They have the answers for you. Again, this is a complimentary consultation. Don't miss the opportunity to take advantage of this. The information that you will glean from this is simply priceless, and you've worked your entire life to retire with confidence. You deserve to take advantage of this opportunity. If you have your smartphone handy, go ahead, grab a click on that QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. That will take you right to Legacy Retirement Group's landing page. Don't go anywhere. I have so much more with Winning Retirement TV with Greg and Kristen Taylor when we return.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter. The one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to Winning Retirement Television. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group. In this next section, I'd love to talk to you a little bit about this. One of our viewers had an interesting request for the Legacy team to help put together a written retirement plan. They said that they have over $600,000 in CDs because they don't like market risk. Is that a good place to look for a yield and less risk in this environment? Greg, what's your opinion on that? Someone who wants to do more of the CD versus taking a risk in the stock market, if you will.
Well, everybody has a comfort level for volatility. And I would say that we have some individuals and families who have zero tolerance for loss. And those are the clients that have no money in the stock market. Because if you have zero tolerance for loss, you should not be in the stock market. And they've always, for years have shied away from CDs and other fixed interest places because there was no yield at all. So certainly when we're considering where to put our money, we need to take into account what it is we're, in the big picture, trying to accomplish. So really the framework of it, or the principle behind it, is that we should not make any investment decisions outside the context of our plan.
Okay.
So therefore, the plan that we've created should determine where we put our money, the placement of our money, the positions that we hold. That's really the key ingredient here. So whether we put money in CDs or whether we put money in money market accounts right now, in multi-year guaranteed annuities that are similar to CDs, they just pay a little higher rate of interest right now. All those things are really meant to be within the context of a plan.
And what does that look like? A plan where you would do that might look like, I just want to make some interest and I don't want to be subjected to the downside risk of the market. So that might be what the plan is for that money. We just want to make some interest. We don't want to just sit in the bank, right? And a lot of people don't want to have more than $200,000 in the bank right now, whereas that used to be not a problem for people. But as they've seen the news and seen banks fail, that starts to get to be a hot point. Right? I don't want all that money in the bank right now. I want to do something else with it.
That's for sure. So when we're taking this inventory, we have to understand what each and every investment class does. So we have three categories of investments, which we have the category of banks. So we have savings, checking, money market, CDs, and there we know our money is safe from market volatility. We know that our money is, for the most part, liquid and available, so if we need to get to it, we can. And there's this warm feeling that we have when we know we can walk in a bank and request money.
That's true.
Even though I don't typically walk into a bank any longer, it's nice to know that I could.
Absolutely.
Most is done online, right? But,
yes.
But the true risk of too much in the bank is, over the long term, we don't typically keep pace with inflation. So we can lose ground to inflation with too much in the bank. And I believe the interest rates we're seeing right now are going to be temporary. And more than likely, I would say there's probably less than a 2-year shelf life on these types of interest rates.
They want the money now, so they're offering the most competitive rates.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then we have the brokerage world: stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, exchange traded funds, variable annuities, commodities like gold and oil and silver and things like that. We also have alternative investments like private equity or venture capital. And in that world, Cynthia, you're going to have the most potential for growth. And for the most part, that money's liquid as well. The real risk there is that we lose money. So if you're worried about losing money, then you have to be careful of how much you put there. You have to be very purposeful of how you invest.
Okay.
Okay, but that is a risk. Then there's insurance companies. They offer life insurance. They offer things like annuities, and annuities get a bad rap, but they do have a purpose. And typically it's people that only sell stocks, bonds, and mutual funds that bash annuities, and people who only sell annuities bash the stock market. So you have to be careful of someone's motivation and whatever they're trying to tell you about something.
That's true.
But there's fixed annuities that work like CDs, and rates change from day to day, but there are rates between 5 and 6% that are available right now that people can get at a fixed rate. Then there's what are called fixed indexed annuities, where if the market goes up, you don't get all the gain, but if it goes down, you don't get any of the losses. So people that don't like market volatility sometimes like that type of annuity. Or there are variable annuities where most of the bad things you hear about annuities are referring to variables because the fees are typically really high and you still have the market volatility. The string attached, or the risk that we take putting money into insurance products, is they're typically not fully liquid. In other words, there's a time commitment on them. So making sure you have a balance of how much you have in each of those categories can help you have a more complete, or what we would call a holistic, financial plan. This is the key to everything. It's not having all your eggs in anybody's basket. So what that does when you have the proper balance is it helps to mitigate risk, because you can't eliminate all the risk, but you can mitigate them. You can hedge against liquidity risk, you can hedge against inflation risk, you can hedge against market volatility risk.
So, Kristen, what it comes down to is basically someone's ideal amount that they would need is based on what their individual needs are. So there's no two situations that are exactly the same.
There really aren't, and that's why the written plan is so important. And it's not a one-size-fits-all. Every family that comes in our office has different needs, different fears, different concerns, different things that they need their money to do for them. And so I think the best step in the whole process is going to our website and downloading the My Retirement Kit. You can do it right from your home. You just go to Tools, click on My Retirement Kit, and you can download it. And as you go through the list of things within this folder, you'll be able to start to unravel what it is you have, what it is you need, what questions you might have, what concerns you might have for your retirement. Because let's face it, sometimes you just don't even know what to ask.
You don't.
It's true.
And so as you start going through that, you can understand if you need a second opinion. And a lot of times as you're going through this pack, you say, oh gosh, I don't even know what my risk is. I don't know what I can afford to take as far as risk. I don't even know what this thing I have is. I don't know what the fees are. So as you're going through that, you're able to mark those things down, and you can even schedule an appointment with us right from the website as well. If you click on the QR code below, you can go right to our Calendly link to schedule, or you can go to legacyretirementgroup.com, and you can always reach us at our office at 614-336-7660.
Kristen, thank you so much. Greg, thank you so much. To our viewers
pleasure.
at home, that number to call is on your screen at 614-336-7660. Greg and Kristen realize that you're in the viewing audience today and that you have a lot of questions about how to plan your perfect retirement. Don't miss the opportunity to take advantage of having a written plan designed just for you, customized for your needs. And again, that smartphone QR code is right at the bottom corner of the screen. Don't miss out on the chance to take advantage of that and click on that. We're going to take a very short commercial break here on Winning Retirement Television with Greg and Kristen Taylor. Don't go anywhere. We have so much more when we return.
Living a life is building a legacy. A legacy of milestones. Your first home, raising your children, becoming grandparents, and memories. From the first steps across the living room floor to the walk down the aisle, at every stage, your family is the most important part of your life, and you want to protect them, now and in the future. Which is why the decisions you make today are so important. You've worked hard to provide a better life for your loved ones. Now is the time to make sure that lasts. Build a legacy that will influence generations to come. Plan smart. Retire well with Legacy Retirement Group.
Welcome back to Winning Retirement Television. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group. This is a very interesting segment as well because I want to talk to you a little bit about the inflation data. So based on the latest inflation data, retirees can likely expect a raise in their Social Security benefits of about 3.2% next year. The Senior Citizens League estimates that cost of living adjustment will raise the average retiree benefit by about $57 a month starting in January, not nearly as high as last year's record-breaking 8.7% increase. I hear and see a lot of advertisements about your free Social Security reports. It can be very tempting, and a lot of other advisors offer them. But you, as a team at Legacy Retirement, you don't do that exactly. Let's talk about your process just a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like sometimes the Social Security report, Cynthia, is one of those shiny objects.
Yeah.
And Social Security is certainly one of the biggest income streams that we'll have in our retirement. And taking it at the right time is very, very important. But it's not the end-all, be-all. What we want people to do is have a holistic plan. It's not just Social Security, it's Social Security, and is there a pension? And are there other income needs? And what do you really want to accomplish in your retirement? And how do we make Social Security fit in with everything else? Because here's one of the problems I found with Social Security calculators.
Okay.
They don't account for your money that you spend if you wait to take Social Security. I hear some advisors say emphatically, you must wait as long as possible. Get that 8% per year increase. Where else can you earn 8%? That kind of makes sense. But on the same token, where else can you lose 100%? And that is, if I'm going to get $30,000 a year from Social Security and I don't take it, that means I lose $30,000 of my money while I'm waiting to take it. So I lose 100% of that $30,000 that I had while I'm waiting to take theirs to get 8% on it. And I've done the math, and what I've learned, the majority of cases, not 100%, but the majority of cases that we look at, it's better to take Social Security when you retire rather than spend your cash. So that's a big, big part. Don't just consider Social Security, consider the big picture.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like anything else. You know, we have a furnace thing where at our house where we've had, I don't know how many people out to check our furnace.
You sure you want to go here with this conversation?
And
move on.
yes, but no matter how
I've
we
been
work
bugging him to
it,
fix it.
no matter how we work it or have it tinkered with, it's still in the summertime. It's hot upstairs where the boys' rooms are, and it's freezing cold in the basement.
Air conditioning. You said furnace.
Well,
Yeah, I guess they're
yeah,
connected.
the AC, the heating and air. All right.
We only have 4 minutes left. We better not go
Yes.
down that road.
I know.
So how do you start an income plan? How do you fix those
How do you fix
things?
the furnace?
How do you fix the
How do you
furnace?
fix the
right?
AC?
I think the first step that we sometimes do in the discovery meeting as well is taking into account for all the expenditures. It's being true to yourself when you're looking at what you spend, being honest about it, getting that budget in place. That'll start the ball rolling really to knowing the path to what your retirement income plan needs to look like.
Sure. Then once you've tallied up all the income that you need, then you start saying, okay, am I going to have enough income to meet this need?
Yes.
Is there a gap? If there's a gap, it's our principle to use the least amount of money possible to fill the gap. So then once we have the gap filled, now we can grow the rest. Because how comforting is it, or would it be, if you knew you could retire, that you had all your bills paid, you could maintain your lifestyle, you could still do all the travel and everything else you wanted to do, and know that you didn't have to worry about that part.
Absolutely.
Then you tuck some money aside in the bank for needs and emergencies that crop up. So now, when a major thing happens like a pandemic, you've got your income checks coming in, you've got money in the bank. Now, as the stock market is volatile, you're not worried to death. You're not worried, okay, am I going to have to go back to work? Am I going to have to change my lifestyle? No, because that principle of protect your income, grow the rest, That is a help people rest at night kind of plan.
Yeah.
And we believe in it with all our hearts because we've seen how it affects people when they're depending on the market to only be good for things to turn out well. And that's not a good feeling. It really isn't. And I would say that a lot of the calls we get,
they're all surrounded around income. Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
they really are because
Or worry.
worry
Yes,
about
yes.
income, and
Am I
that's
gonna be okay?
Yeah, I mean, income equals lifestyle in retirement. So the number one fear of retirees is outliving their money or running out of money in retirement. And so as we start talking about that, no wonder why Social Security is such a hot button, shiny object.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's the income that we have, but it goes so much deeper than that. It's your pension, it's your Social Security, it's the dollars saved, and how much of those dollars saved do you need for your income gap that Greg was talking about there.
Yeah.
And I think that is the foundation of your financial house, if you will, of your retirement plan, because income is an important part. We've talked on previous shows about your estate planning being important, your tax planning, your health care. All those things tied together create a great income plan. But if you don't have a good solid foundation, if you have cracks in that foundation, the rest is going to fall apart. You're not going to be able to afford those healthcare expenses that crop up. You're not going to be able to pay for that trust that needs done or take care of those other things if you don't have your finances in the income plan in order.
And you know, Cynthia, I had a family and recently we're creating their written income plan together, and I have my software up that I'm using to create the written plan, and we're plugging in the different income sources, and they're like, well, what if inflation stays at over 3%? Okay, I put that in the inflation side, and so then we tweak the plan a little bit there. Well, what if inflation goes down? Well, we can tweak the plan there. And so ultimately, they, side by side, working with me, we're building that plan that gave them the confidence. And the written plan should give you confidence.
Yeah. And it all comes down to having a plan, a written plan for retirement.
It does.
Kristen, thank you so much. Greg, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, thank you specifically for spending time with us today. That number to call is 614-336-7660. Don't miss this opportunity to have a complimentary, written, holistic retirement plan customized just for you. This is all about what your hopes and goals and dreams are for retirement. Don't miss the opportunity to take advantage of this. Be safe, be happy, be blessed. We'll see you back 1 week from today on Winning Retirement Television with Greg and Kristen Taylor. Take care now.